Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, hit that little red button over to your right and become a subscriber right away. In this episode, we're going to put the differential back into the 63.4 Fairlane. I am anxious to do this. So I need your help and we're going to do this together. Let's get started. In the last episode, you seen where I had the old shackles and I decided not to use them. I received the new shackles. Let's see what they look like. Oh yeah, comes with the bushings and all. Just want to make sure it fits up. It's perfect. Just perfect. Let's go on to the Fairlane here. All right. I believe everything is all ready to be hooked up. And first thing I need to do is just go ahead and remove what bushings that there is left. To actually remove it, this bushing is still here. So let me get a screwdriver. That one is still there, so I just need to remove the old bushings. And if you had to put a little grease around it, that's okay. Whatever helps you get it in. All my subscribers know the most important thing to me is safety. So I have jack stands on the back, of course, but I also have jack stands in the middle as well. You never know. A vehicle's no good to you if you're not around to work on it. Well, I would say we are ready to put it back in. I put a block in between the spring and the frame so that I can actually have clearance to actually hook up the shackle. And I want to make sure that the shafts, the real shafts, are actually lined up in the hole. Now, for me to actually be able to bolt those down properly, I want to use my body weight because the car is pretty light, because it has no motor, no engine, transmission, so forth. So I'm gonna need my body weight to actually be able to tighten down the shaft bolts, the top. And for the time being, I left everything loose. I didn't tighten down on the bushings for the leaf springs, and I did not tighten down on the U-bolts as well. So I'm just leaving everything loose until I can actually tighten down on the shocks and get the shackles back in place. And I'm gonna have to touch up some paint on that. Should have put a board on that earlier. But anyway, we're getting it. Let's go ahead and line up our rear shock, the bottom. Let's put our bushing in place. That's correct. And we put our nut on. Just want to leave it loose. And I have lifted the vehicle up. I want to leave this gap here because when I get in it, it's actually going to drop down. I need that flexibility so I can actually tighten down the top of the shocks. I need that flexibility for it to actually drop down with my body weight. That helped. I prefer to actually be back here because the vehicle will actually, on the tail end, I can actually get it down a little bit further than I would if I was inside the cab. Now I'm putting back on the shackles. I need to put the other side, the brace, and I need to bring it in more. So in case you're having the same problem that I am, just use a C-clamp to actually squeeze the shackle in all the way. Now all we have to do is just tighten up our nuts. I'm gonna have to do some touch-up paint. It happens. And I'm on the left side. And again, if you have problems with trying to get the shackles together, just make sure, just have your C-clamp available. Just put a C-clamp up there. Squeeze them together. Again, more touch-up painting. All right, so far so good. Now we have both shackles, the left side and the right side rear, actually tightened down. And now I'm gonna go to the front and just go ahead and finish mounting the bolts on the front brackets for the left and right side. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna come back and torque them down. But right now, I'm just gonna tighten them down and get it in place. And you definitely wanna make sure you come back and torque them down later. So we got both of these bolts, the bottom bolts on both sides. Now I need to put the two top bolts on the side in on each side. At this time, we wanna make sure that the body, the car is actually sitting back on the jack stands. So we're just gonna release it off the jack. Loosen it up, drop it down. Really don't need that. But I tell you what, we're just going to, since I'm going underneath, I can never be too safe. Let's just go ahead and just put a little tension on that. Right there. You can never be too safe. And we have two jack stands in the rear. We're just gonna go ahead and mount our bolts on the side. And again, we're going to come back and torque these bolts down. Make sure you torque your bolts. Now, I need to actually tighten down on my nut here. And I need a 7/8 and a 15/16 wrench. Now it's time to tighten up our U-bolts. And we need a 3/4 socket. And we're going to use the impact gun and just tighten it right on up. Now, before we tighten up the U-bolts, I like to kind of move it around and shake it, just to make sure it's seated okay. It's just something in my head. I just like to, kind of make sure that it's comfortable, it's kind of settled. And I go to the other side and I do the same. Again, make sure that it is sitting on jack stands properly. Now we're going to tighten down the U-bolts. Well, I allowed the gas tank to soak overnight with Varsol. And what I did was, since I had Varsol in it, I went ahead and just tipped it over and just made sure that I had no leaks. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, that looks good. Just as clean as it was when it went in the tank. Not bad. Not bad at all. Varsol drained out pretty well. Everything was clean. I put some thread tape back on the plug here, and I'm going to put the plug back in place. Tighten that up. I'm going to clean this tank up and paint it. Then we spray some purple cleaner on it. Well, I'm not going to worry much about the sending unit because if it's not working, I can always replace it. And it's not an item that is hard to get to. I want to take a chance on that. Look clear. Not bad for a used gas tank. Well, I think the gas tank turned out pretty good. And you know, restoration work is very rewarding. And just take your time with it and you will enjoy it, especially when you're doing it for yourself. And think of the money that you are actually saving when you get a beautiful dream car, a classic of your own. The next video that we do on the 634 Fairlane, we will be putting on rear brakes and hooking up the parking brakes and also installing the gas tank. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe. Take care and God bless.